So if I were to base this argument on continuum, could you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so if we base this argument on a continuum without you saying we don't have to, my logic is that those characters that struggled against the Cell Juniors were the ones that fought against Broly. So if that's the case, then Broly, the way that Broly dominated, the way that Broly dominated the Z Fighters doesn't compare to how Gohan dominated the Cell Juniors.
Well, can I stop you there? Because I just want to
sure.
stop you there because Broly fighting the Cell Junior era kind of characters or whatever, that doesn't make any logical sense. Because the Daizenshu tries to say, well, the timeline should take place during the Cell arc, but it is kind of weird that they're all just sitting around having a picnic. Right, so the idea that's being presented is, this timeline is different, right? There's something different about this timeline. And the main difference is the power cliff as well. Broly is ridiculously powerful compared to Cell. He's ripping apart the South Quadrant, which is 1/4 of the
I agree with that.
Right, so I'm just gonna drop you a calc real quick. If you
but I'm just trying to say, Seth, that's why I'm trying to make two arguments with you, because I'm saying if I were to approximate where those characters should be in the regular Z timeline, that would be the closest time period, because that's why Gohan looks that way. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to be after Gohan came out of the room in Spirit of Time. Now, the power scaling is obviously different, but I'm saying that would be the closest time period. So if we equate this to Z logic and say that, okay, well, they're around Cell Junior level, then by the time we get to like Janemba and like the Buu arc,
but you know,
Super Buu should shit.
But you're aware that's faulty because you're not allowed to connect it to the main timeline.
Where else do you want me to connect those characters then?
You don't. So like, for instance, like when you power scale 2 series and you have them fight each other, you basically go off of what they've done in their continuities. So if you have Goku versus Superman, you're like, well, Goku's done this, Superman's done that. You don't say, well, in their respective timelines, they might link up this way. I think Superman might be Saiyan Saga level. You know, he seems like the character's there or something. You just say, he's done this, he's done that, this greater than that, right? And it's the same thing with the movies. The movies don't link up to the timeline, and usually they don't link up to each other either. So, like, you have Broly, and I just dropped the calculation for you there, or the math behind it in chat. Basically, it's just describing why he's able to destroy multiple galaxies quite casually by the time that he's in his legendary Super Saiyan form, right? That's just going off the fact that he's an eventual threat to the destruction of the universe. And then with Gogeta, Gogeta's most prominent feat is he lights up the afterlife, which is a universal disc. And lighting up this afterlife with blue photon light is like a lower multi-galaxy. And I'll show you that as well. Hold on.
However, Seth, as you look for that, though, I do want to ask you,
it's right here,
because if you're going to counter that argument I made about trying to like link up time periods, so then how strong would you say movie 8 Z Fighters are?
You just have to compare them to Broly, right? You just have to say, well, they scale to this certain level of Broly or whatever. So, and to be honest, they don't really scale to Broly, because all Broly did was just kind of beat the shit out of him. But you might be able to say, well, maybe they made him slightly flinch or something here or there, so maybe they should at least be somewhat in the same tier.
All right. There were like 2 instances where like Trunks punched Broly and Goku punched Broly where he bopped his head, but I was like...
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and then there's also... So not only does Broly have the better feats, right? And if you want to be... And to prove that the timeline from the main story cannot be used here at all, Cell is like a solar system buster, pretty much. Like, it's stated verbatim. Now, he's a slightly above solar system level. He's like 50 times because the weird angle he's destroying the solar system from, whatever. That's not important. But he's like solar system something. Whereas Broly is clearly multi-galaxy based off of everything we know about him. And then it's confirmed by Koyama that Broly is actually like the strongest character, at least in the original run of the Dragon Ball Z anime, which includes Gogeta. Yeah, he's Koyama, basically the director.
But Takao Koyama is kind of biased to Broly, though. So like,
right, you could say that, but then you could also say, but there are feats that support this line of thinking. Right, so it's basically I'm not using Koyama as a main argument. I'm using him as a supporting argument to the idea that these feats can be used to support Broly being more powerful. Does that make sense?
I mean, like, even before Seth made the video and before we did the video and, you know, did everything, did all the research and added everything in there, when you just watch movie 8 and you take a look at Broly, it's funny because his narrative is very similar to that of like a Kid Buu character or like Majin Buu, at least just from what we see. And that's like just Kaio-sama kind of comparing a suppressed Broly, you know, and then obviously we see him get stronger throughout the film.
Yeah, the Broly that's ripping apart the universe is weaker than base Broly. Like, because
it's funny.
Yeah, because restricted Super Saiyan Broly gets kicked in the mouth by base Goku, and it makes his mouth bleed. And that's the Broly that was ripping everything apart. And then when he becomes a Super Saiyan, he's the strongest Super Saiyan.
Right.
So, yeah, not even base Broly was, like, destroying the South Galaxy within a few years. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Qaaman. I made my own video on that, and I uploaded it, and I debated hundreds of people. Like, I have like 24 hours of recording of me debating people, so that wasn't fair. I was just seeing what you thought about it.
No, and I still have more arguments to like counter this. I mean, I was just saying, well, if you're basing it because if you want to, but in order for me to do that, I have to go with Broly's second coming. So I'm just waiting for you to finish this argument before we go to the next part.
Well, is that even needed?
Why don't you do a video on this and make money off of it?
Right, because what I'm saying is that Broly, because if we go with Broly's second coming, that supports my argument 10 times better than it does the first one.
Okay, what's in Broly's second coming? By the way, Broly's second coming is just stated to be a stronger Broly, so we can just use that.
Right, which supports my argument even tenfold. But okay, so the fact that first of all, like, it's implied that Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 against Broly's second coming. Like, the power scaling logic would only make sense.
He was also a lot stronger than when he was a kid in that movie.
See, that whole thing is fucking weird, man. Because like the time period that this is supposed. See, that's what I'm saying. These movies are hard to judge, but like.
Well, I'm judging them right here. I'm judging them very clearly. I'm articulating myself.
Okay, well, that would be my side argument, saying that like he's stronger or weaker than he was as a kid. But like my primary argument is still the same. The point is that a Super Saiyan 2-ish adult Gohan who does not have his mystic abilities, which we would assume, even if he's weaker, would still scale his power up more.
Okay.
That Gohan was able to somewhat hold his own against this stronger Broly than he was as a kid. So that's why I agree with you, Seth. Well, I do think this Gohan is stronger than what he was when he fought Broly.
Well, it's stated he is. He's stated to be a lot more powerful.
Right, and this Gohan also has Super Saiyan 2, whereas that kid Gohan doesn't.
And so here's the thing. You have a Gohan that potentially trained all 7 years after the Cell games. He could be whatever strength the fucking plot wanted him to be. Yeah.
But the point is, you remember Dudu and Diddy were also like doing some damage on Broly when they fought against him too, and they're just little kids.
Did you say Dudu and Diddy? What?
No, I said Goten and Trunks were also doing some damage on
yeah, on Super Saiyan Broly, but he wasn't trying or going all out. Plus, I would just say that Goten and Trunks just scale to Broly. It's kind of like the same people that are like, "Do you really think Goten could beat up Frieza?" It's like, yes, I do. Goten would mollywop Frieza. They're like, that's retarded.
Hold on. Well, I actually want to bring that. I want to argue with you in that one in just a second. But the point is that if you could say that Gohan held his own with Broly as a Super Saiyan 2, then by the time Gogeta comes around, like, Broly should be sniffed out of existence.
It's not true, unfortunately. There's no feats to suggest Gogeta links to Broly like that. It's directly stated that Broly is the most powerful, and we have feats to confirm he's the most powerful. So
okay, but so then how could a Super Saiyan? So would you agree that Gogeta's way above?
Well, here's the same thing. Do you think base Goku in Dragon Ball Super could beat up Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Dragon Ball Z?
I honestly don't know.
Come on,
That's
bro.
Kind of hard. I mean, well, base Goku from what arc?
From the end of the Tournament of Power, dude.
Versus... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? So right now, you're looking like Champa. You feel me? You're like, how can that lower form to beat that higher one? But that's not how it works,
when you said base Goku, I wasn't sure what arc you were talking about. Like,
yeah, I was just meaning like the current Goku base. Pretty much.
Yeah,
but... he would slap the shit out of Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, remember because he was bopping with Frieza, so like that would and that was just Resurrection F.
No.
So like yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. You can have a lesser form. Here's another thing too. Like Goku absorbs like Super Saiyan God level power or something into like his Super Saiyan state. You could argue that like Goku just in his fight with Beerus reaches at least beyond Vegito levels from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did a video on that.
Yeah, there are numerous reasons. There are numerous reasons that Gohan could be stronger than Gogeta. Numerous reasons. And the only thing stopping you from agreeing is that it just sounds so crazy, which is an argument from incredulity. So I don't accept that.
Right. I'm just saying, man, and I'm not trying to make myself a power scaling genius. I'm just saying, based on my logic, I would think that if Gohan could hold his own against Broly, then that means Gogeta has to be in another quadrant of power.
I would agree with you if the movies scaled to the timeline. So, in all honesty, that's how most people look at him, right? So, by that logic, you would be right, but by the actual way to argue this, you would not be right. And plus, I was just mainly just testing you out anyway, just seeing how you would argue it. But
well, let me ask you this though, Seth, because I was talking to Tario Timmy about this.
Who?
And we were like discussing.
Thanks.
Like,
wait, who?
How strong?
Tario Timmy. What the fuck?
Yeah, Mario Jimmy.
Oh, Mario Jimmy. I thought you said Tario Timmy. I was like,
thanks, Quinn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I said it to fuck. I just said it to fuck
Seth is so confused right now.
Yeah, anyway, Mario Jimmy. All right, we're talking to Mario Jimmy.
I was just saying it to fuck with MJ. I fucked with his name all the time.
I love you too.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you look at the Boo or the beginning of the Boo arc, or like before Boo was released, like we were trying to figure out how strong Goten and Trunks were. Okay, so for all sakes and purposes, let's just say Goten and Trunks are equal, because like the difference in their power is like a very small marginal difference, right? So like if you were to say Goten and Trunks are about equal, like how strong were they as individuals between the Room of Spirit and Time? Because the thing is, were they stronger than 18 or just like enough to hold their own with her?
I had this talk with you.
Yeah, we did like about a while ago.
So we're arguing tournament Goten and Trunks versus 18, or
right before the Room of Spirit and Time.
Okay.